Okay, so we want to, in this video, we'll be creating an SSH key. You can see over here, it's SSH keys. And the full meaning of SSH keys is called secure shell. So basically, they allow us to be able to securely access our servers in AWS, right, in the cloud. And let's just go ahead and create it. So the idea behind the SSH key is that you have a private and a public key created at the same time. So we'll see that the private key will be downloaded to your system, right, while the public key is going to be in the server. Yes, I should be in the server, such that when you are trying to log into the server, it authenticates the private, authenticates the public. But let's see what I mean actually. So we are going to create an SSH key, and then this Bastion Host, right? So okay. So over here, let's navigate back to our EC2. Okay, back to EC2, and then you can click on instances here. Okay, let's first of all create our security group. So go down and click on security. No, not security group. That's a mistake. I mean keeper. Yeah, keeper. Created security group earlier. So keeper. Click on create keeper. As you can see, there's no keeper here before, right? This is the first one we are creating. Let me follow the naming convention that we have. So for the, you can see it's called dev EC2 key. Note that these names, you must not use this name, right? But I'm using this because the name explicitly explains what we are creating does. So you can say dev EC2 key without, by just saying it, you know that this is an EC2, is a key for an EC2 instance. The dev just talked about the environment. This is a dev environment, right? We are not in production. We're testing things out, we are working, right? So yeah, that's the name. Leave it as RSA, right? Leave it as .pem, and then let's add tag. Just find it awesome to add tags. The tag can be the exact same name. Yeah. Then create keeper. You see what we have. Just look at here. You see that a key has been downloaded. Exactly what I mean. Can you see? It says successfully created the keeper, and at the same time, can you see that there was a key was downloaded to my system, right? So let me navigate to my system so that you can see what I mean, right? Let me go back to this place. You see what I mean? It was downloaded in my downloads folder. So here's actually my keeper, right? If I try to open it now with VS Code, you would see how it looks like. It's created with a particular encoding format. It's that RSA format. Let me open it. Okay. Taking some time. Okay, it's opening. Yeah, can open it with VS Code. Alright. So you would see over here now how our private key looks like. So it's a private key. The public key, because there are two keys, right? So the public key is going to be the server that we are creating, right? So the private key is in our system, and it's only me that have access to this, for instance. So this is how the private key looks like. So when I'm trying to log into the server, it's basically the private key authenticates itself with the public key, that kind of thing. So it has been created. That's the first thing we wanted to do. And then now we can go ahead and create our Bastion Host. So click on instances and click on launch instance, either this or this, anyone. Let me split my screen so that I can get the name for, yeah. So it's called Dev Bastion. Okay, copy Dev Bastion. Okay, so there you can see over here. Let me expand this. There are various AMIs. An AMI means Amazon Machine Image, right? So basically, like OS, your operating system, you can see Amazon, Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu. There are a lot of them, but we'll stick with this for now. Yes, just like we have Windows systems, we have Mac OS, we have Linux systems, like laptops, desktop, things like that. This actually what we are creating is actually a computer, but the difference is that the computer is not located where we are. It's located quite far away. For instance, the one I'm trying to create now is located in the United States, right? So I'm accessing it over the internet. That's just the difference. So it's called a virtual server. Yeah. And servers compared to laptops would have higher computing capacity and processing power than a laptop, most likely. So leave it to Linux 2023, 64 bit. Yes, leave it to that. Our instant type we choose is in T3 micro. We choose T2 micro. That's smaller, and then we're trying to build project within with the minimal cost basically. So this T2 micro has one vCPU and 1 gig. So it's smaller than the T3 micro that has 2 vCPU and 1 gig. So if I click here, you would see the key. So there's a key here. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So now we can edit here. We can edit the network settings, and for our VPC, we choose the VPC that we created, which is a dev VPC. Just a minute. For the subnet, our Bastion Host from the architecture is located in our public subnet. So you can pick any of the public subnets, which you can be public easy one or public easy 2, but I'll go with easy 1. And then, oh, there was something I did not do, right? So the IP address, you can enable it, but there's a way to do this. Something I should have done. Yes, I missed that. From the VPC side, for the public subnet, you can auto assign IP, such that when we come here, it is toggled to enable by default, right? So, but let me just quickly show you that in the VPC here. Let me check that setting. So when it comes to subnets, click on subnet. Yeah, our public subnet. Let's start with the first one. Actions. You click on edit subnet setting, and here you check this enable auto assign IP. So by default, that section would be enabled by default. You don't need to be changing it. So let's do the same thing for the public subnet of the EZ2. Check here and save. So let's go back to our launch instance. So anytime I want to launch an instance within the public subnet, it would okay, let me even refresh this. Let's see if that would populate itself. Let's see something. Let me click on public easy now. Let's see what happens. Okay, it doesn't populate because for that I'll have to refresh this page, but I don't want to go back and forth. Let's keep going. So you can just click on enable, right? And then click on select existing group. We've created our security group already. We've created 3 of them that we'll be needing. So the one we'll be using for these, attaching to this, is the SSH, right? Yeah. And then for the configure storage, don't change anything. Advanced details, don't change anything. don't change anything. So just launch, let's see. I think that's all. Let's launch the instance. There are some options that we use when we are trying to launch or provision a server, a web server. So launch the instance. Click on launch. Okay, it's coming up. So launching instance is just basically like starting the computer, and what happens behind the scenes is that you are requesting for a server with a specific with a unique specification. Like I did, this one is T2 Micro. Yes, can you see the name? Dev Bastion. If I scroll a bit, it's already running. Although it's initializing, it's going to fully come up in a few seconds. So you can see that there's a public IP attached to it. This is the security group. This is the key name. Yeah, you can basically see everything. You can even check it here and then see a lot more details under here. So there's a public and there's a private. Yeah, so that's how to create a key pair and then create the Bastion Host, which we'll be using to access our website. Alright, so in the next video we would be accessing a Bastion Host, and from the Bastion Host we'll be accessing the web server and then performing some Linux administration tasks on it, basically administering the server. Right, so let me go back to the content here. Okay, the image. So we want to use, you just created this and created a key pair that will allow us to have access to this, and from this we can have access to this. Right, so in the next content we would create a web server like this in the private subnet. Note that this was created in the public subnet. We create this one in the private subnet, and then we would access this using this. Right, so that's what we're going to do in the next one. See you in the next video.